Well, again, good afternoon, and welcome to the 7th Annual Academic WorldQuest competition. My name is Mark Johnson. I'm the founder of the Montana World Affairs Council, and it's really a great pleasure to have you here. Now, as a Montanan, I know what it's like to get from points A to B. I know what it takes to drive and so forth, and I'm very grateful that you made the effort. Now, I'd like you to think about something as you look around. When we started this competition in 2005, total number of tables in this room, 3. All right? What we have today is 54 teams. That's a record for us, but I have to tell you, I think it's a record for any competition, WorldQuest competition in any state, the number of people we have here today. It's truly a tribute to you all. A quick word of thanks to our Mayor, John Engen, who will serve as our Master of Ceremonies. He will be more formally and properly introduced in just a moment. Now, I know many of you are uncertain about what will happen this evening. We thought of the WorldQuest competition as a fun way to learn about global issues, about international issues. Oh, by the way, we'll serve pizza at the intermission, okay? So. We're in Montana. And, you know, sometimes I think that's why the mayor keeps coming back. I don't think he's here, so I can, oh, there he is. All right. The planning for this event has been underway for months. I think we actually started right after the last WorldQuest competition a year ago. And I'd like to thank our magnificent Executive Director, Aubrey Lyons, for all the work she has done. Truly, truly inspirational. She is really one of the best in the council system, which includes 94 councils across the United States. But she's had some help from a great group of volunteers, both from the community and from the university. And I'd just like to read their names to you so you get a sense of who they are, and if you see them, thank them for their efforts. We have Lucy Gantman, Linda Howard, Will Kellogg, Jackie Mead, Robert Ream, Kimberly Sharp, Kristen Smith, and Jordan Weinacker. So a big thanks to all of them for what they've done. Some of them are working, and we won't ask them to stand up, but you'll know them when you see them. Many of you are at a point where you're starting to think about what happens next, as in college. I would urge you to think about this fine institution, the University of Montana. We're very fortunate to have someone with us tonight who can tell you a little bit more about the opportunities here. The university's Executive Vice President, Jim Foley, is here. He's a terrific guy, big friend of the World Affairs Council, active in the community and on the campus, and I think everything you need to know is that he just got off a plane. I mean, literally just got off a plane, and he made time to be with us. So, Jim, thank you very much.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you. Aubrey, thank you for, again, taking the time to come to the University of Montana with the best and the brightest of Montanans to compete here tonight. Let me, on behalf of President Engstrom, our faculty, our world-class faculty, and our staff, welcome you to the University of Montana. Those of you that are from this area get the opportunity to come here, be around the campus. Those of you who haven't been here, take some time, get around the campus. University of Montana really is a special place with amazing faculty, amazing staff. We're not sure about the administrators, but that's we'll see what happens. An amazing place that we like to live, work, and study. You know, if you get out to the University of Montana here, you'll see the Oval out there, which is out in Main Hall, and all the buildings are around the Oval. That was designed by a Missoula architect by the name of A.J. Gibson. And one of the reasons he designed that Oval the way he did was that he thought that it would be good for students who would come to the Oval to be able to look out around Montana and around the world. Because he, like the rest of us, think you folks are the leaders, not only in the state of Montana or in this country, but in the world. So the University of Montana has taken that to the next level with President Engstrom because he wants to build a campus and continue to build on this place to make sure that it is part of the global world, the global economy, And he's going to be talking about that over the course of the next couple of months when all of you enroll at the University of Montana. I think that your time here this evening will be very special. And I was one of those people who came here some years ago, and I believe when I came, Mr. Ambassador, there were 8 teams. So it is a testament to not only you and Aubrey, but the World Affairs Council, all the sponsors here tonight, and all of you who took the time to come here to compete. I do recognize, by the way, Mr. Ambassador, the pizzas didn't come out first, they come out at intermission. Same thing on campus here. We don't bring the food until later. So let me show you a couple of videos here that will explain a little bit about the University of Montana if you haven't been here before.
Missoula, Montana, a playground of mountains and rivers with a thriving community of arts and culture, and home to the University of Montana. World-class faculty and students making a difference in a broader world. A campus that was designed to launch great minds. This is where dreams begin. Higher education, global impact. The University.
That was the University of Montana.
Go. In the midst of the rattlesnake wilderness, the Hellgate Trading Post was forged in what is now Missoula, Montana. In a countryside irresistible to the adventurous and imaginative, Missoula quickly became the cultural capital of Montana. And in 1893, the University of Montana was founded. In the decades to follow, the university became a gateway to the elite, producing congresspeople, senators, famous actors, Nobel Prize winners. Our journalism graduates have won 8 Pulitzer Prizes. In times of world crisis, we've trained war heroes. We have transformed pioneers into professionals. In our vast and rapidly changing universe, the U of M remains a place where ideas meet the outdoors. We are an institution that leads the march towards new technologies and sustainability, and home to the Montana Grizzlies. Friendly people, world-class faculty, and a campus that Rolling Stone magazine called the most scenic in America. Higher education and global impact. The University of Montana. Over a century ago.
There you go. Enjoy your time here this evening, and just remember you really are the leaders of the 21st century, not only in this state, but in this country and in the world. Mayor Engen, thanks for emceeing and being a mentor again, and to all the faculty and parents out there, thank you for being at the University of Montana, and go Grizz.
My name is Bob Seidenschwartz. I'm the president for the Montana World Affairs Council, and I want to thank the students, the parents, and the teachers for making the commitment to travel great distances. Do we know who has traveled the furthest? What team? Billings. So Mark, Ambassador Johnson, and I were present at the first competition 6 years ago when we had 3 teams. And now we're up to 54 teams, so it's been an amazing ride to watch this happen. Just a few quick words before I introduce Mayor Engen. As the world as you know it today, I will say this unequivocally, will change radically over the next 20 to 30 years. What you recognize will be unrecognizable, and not to the bad necessarily, but to the good. Your commitment to being here, to your education, and to never be satisfied with just the ordinary will give you and present opportunities to the people in this room today going forward. So hopefully these words will be remembered as you take this journey You see some of the pictures where you looked at the University of Montana where it was one building surrounded by open fields. Try to imagine your world today and envision it 20, 30 years from now and the changes that will take place. Your education is going to be absolutely critical to the success that you will have and separate you in terms of the dreams and the hopes. So I just want to thank every one of you, again, the parents, the students, and the teachers that made the effort and commitment to make this possible here today. And good luck to every team. I'd now like to introduce an individual that I've known for many years, grew up here in Missoula, attended Hellgate High School, had a career, and now I would say the difficulties of the work that he is faced with for the city, the economy, and the issues that have to be dealt with made it very easy for him to be here today because he said to me, he gets nothing but love when he comes here. And the people that have been here previously that have had the ability and honor to see Mayor Engen speak and be the MC, they understand already the treat that they're in for. The rest of you are about to experience one of the more unique individuals that I've met. And I've always said this to John, and I mean this with great sincerity. What he has done for Missoula, he's one of our most beloved mayors. The effort, the work, the integrity that this gentleman has, we're all honored to have him as our mayor. And I will forever be grateful to have John as a leader in this community. John, Mayor Engen.
Thank you, Bob. That's very kind, and I will give you my American Express. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here again. 54 teams, that's fantastic. Sorry, I need to get briefly organized here. So I was actually once your age. It seems like a long time ago for all sorts of reasons. In fact, at one point I was actually your weight as well. That seems like a long time ago, too. And I know the pressure that you're under. I know that you want to compete to win, and I know that some of the questions before you this evening may be a little bit daunting, so I am going to give you a hint. 50% of the answers this evening are Egypt. I just don't know which 50%. So when in doubt, go with Egypt. If you just used Egypt, my technique would be go with something like Gaddafi. Beyond that, I get out of my depth. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, you all know the rules, right? I ask questions, you do a thing, I ask another question. Yeah, you're all good with that? All right. Here's how we play. There are 10 rounds, ladies and gentlemen, of 10 questions each. By my math, that's somewhere on the order of 93, 94 questions. You put your team name and your team member names on the cover of the answer sheet. Your teams will have 30 seconds to answer each question after it's been read. Completely shade over your answer. Do not circle. Do not X out. There's no penalty for guessing, so answer every question. And again, Egypt. Should you need anything during the competition, please raise your hand, and we will endeavor to do our best. No cell phones or other electronic devices permitted, regardless of that chip in your head that may be currently connected to Google and the cloud. Use of these will result in automatic disqualification for the entire team. The order, rounds 1 through 5, here we go, dinner break, rounds 6 through 10, pizza, right? Team captains will be responsible for turning in answer sheets, evaluations, and all grading decisions, ladies and gentlemen, are final. With that, the PowerPoint segues to the next slide. Thank you very much. Round of applause for our ACE technical team over on the side of the hall. They're advancing these slides, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't know how. There's a point for each correct answer. There's no penalty for wrong answers or answers left blank in the event of a tie. A sudden death tiebreaker featuring wrestling will be played. Oh, yeah. All right. The team with the highest number of correct answers wins. This team will represent Montana, our fine state, at the national competition all the way in Washington, D.C., which is fantastic, sponsored by our good friends at the Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation. Round one, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we begin. Freedom of the press and around the globe. My favorite part of this event every year is I will mispronounce something. It will be your job then to humiliate me accordingly. Freedom of press around the globe. Question number one, which region had the lowest percentage of countries rated as quote-unquote free in the 2010 Freedom House's annual Press Freedom Index? A, Asia Pacific, B, Sub-Saharan Africa, C, Middle East and North Africa, or D, Central and Eastern Europe / former Soviet Union. Lowest percentage of countries rated as free. Oh, and there's no... Question number two, folks. In a form of citizen journalism, the death of Neda Aga Sultan was captured on video and spread across the internet as the government cracked down on post-election protests in which country? Sudan, Somalia, Iraq, or Iran? Question number three. Yeah, here's where we start, right? Malay Sayakini, thank you, a popular alternative source of information launched in Malaysia in 1999, is what type of media organization? A search engine, B, an online newspaper, C, a blogging website, or D, a social networking website? Question number four, the Freedom House's annual Press Freedom Index rates countries as free, partly free, or not free based on numerical scoring. In 2009, which of the following countries improved their rating from partly free to free? A, Israel, B, Zimbabwe, C, Bangladesh, or D, Indonesia? Partly free to free. Question number five, halfway through round one, Corporate and Policy Communications Director for Google, Bob Borston, argues that the debate between security and free expression is going to broaden into a debate between security, free expression, and blank. A, economic growth. B, the certainty that there is only uncertainty. C, who controls diplomacy. Or D, surveillance. Question number six, the Freedom House survey found that 84% of the world's inhabitants live in countries where the press is either partly free or not free. Which two countries together account for approximately 1/3 of the world's population living without a free press? A, China and India, B, Greenland and Iceland, C, India and Pakistan, or D, China and Brazil? Question number seven, in Liberation Technology, Larry Diamond reports that blank has withdrawn from China in protest of censorship. That's A, YouTube, B, Google, C, MySpace. Does MySpace still exist? And D, Facebook. Question number eight, bordered by China, Kazakhstan, and Russia, this country is labeled partly free, unlike its not free neighbors. A, Mongolia, B, Tajikistan, C, Turkmenistan, and D, Bhutan. MySpace was easier to pronounce. Question number 9, since 2005, defamation of this country's president has been punishable with 6 to 30 months in prison and remains the only not free country in South America. Sounds very much like the penalty for mocking the mayor. Which country is this? A, Colombia, B, Venezuela, C, Bolivia, or D, Uruguay? We've had a liquid crisis at one of the tables, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 10, the last in the first round. According to Bob Borston of Google, in the Waka video, the always popular Waka video, what media source does he name as the key media of which to communicate with the vast majority of the world? A, newspapers, B, network television, C, radio, or D, online blogs? Last question of this round. Round 2, we made it all the way to round 2. Give yourselves a round of applause for making it through. Round 1, I'm looking forward to round 3, which is potholes, ladies and gentlemen. Round 2, global health. Question number 1, what is the #1 cause of death worldwide in children under the age of 5? A, AIDS, B, diarrhea, C, pneumonia, D, improper neonatal care. Question number 2, which of the following illnesses is not included in the Global Health Initiative? A, malaria, B, HIV, AIDS, C, smallpox, or D, tuberculosis? Question number 3, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation invests most heavily in which area? A, family planning, B, vaccines, C, malaria net distribution, or D, HIV AIDS awareness campaigns? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Question number 4, according to the World Health Organization, what's the leading cause of death among women between ages 15 to 44 worldwide? A, AIDS, B, malaria, C, tuberculosis, or D, childbirth? Question number 5, which nation is the largest donor of funds, both in the private and public sectors, to the Global Health Program? A, Australia, B, Great Britain, C, China, or D, the United States? Question number 6, in addition to money, Bill and Melinda Gates believe more blank is needed to meet global health challenges. A, volunteerism, B, innovation, C, climate change, D, diplomacy, E, iPads. E is not really an answer. Question number 7, this disease fell to fewer than 3,000 cases a year, a 99% reduction in 20 years, but getting rid of the last 1% is the hardest part of eradicating what disease? A, tuberculosis, B, malaria, C, polio, or D, smallpox? Question number 8, U.S. spending on global health initiatives is expected to blank. A, decrease by 50%, B, remain unchanged, C, increase by more than 100%, or D, use donations from foreign governments to expand services. Question number 9, the Global Health Initiative aims to implement an approach that is centered around what? A, children and infants, B, women and girls, C, low-income families, or D, the elderly? Question number 10. Lori Garrett in the Global Health Initiative video says this will keep Israel and Palestine from ever reaching an agreement. A, odds of a Palestinian child living past age 10 are exponentially lower than an Israeli child. B, cultural practices of medicine inhibit any joint technological advances. C, hospitals in Palestine are of much higher quality than Israel's. D, social aspects vary too much for any cooperation. This is the last question in this cheery round of questions, ladies and gentlemen. 3, international governance and global organizations. Congratulations, you made it this far. Question number 1, absolutely give yourselves a round of applause. Keep yourselves awake, excited. Yes. What are the Basel III Accords? A set of international bank standards. B, a convention banning the use of chemical weapons. C, a plan to combat global epidemics. D, a protocol for controlling fissile materials, which can be very, very painful. Question number 2, who is responsible for coordinating the United Nations health efforts? A, UNAIDS, B, UNICEF, C, who? D, LOL. Question number 3, which 2 institutions were established pursuant to the 1944 Bretton Woods Conference? A, European Central Bank, Asian Development Bank. B, International Monetary Fund, World Bank. C, World Trade Organization, International C, World Trade Organization, International Panel on Climate Change. Or D, United Nations North American Treaty Organization. According to David Rothkopf, in the video on foreign policy, the G20 deals primarily with what issues? A, humanitarian, B, environmental, C, security, or D, economic? And if that's David, he looks like a cheery fella. Question number 5, the special drawing right, SDR, is a unit of monetary value administered by blank. A, the IMF, B, the OMG, C, the Basel Committee, or D, the European Central Bank. Question number 6. Which new multilateral group in 2009 was dubbed the premier forum for our international economic cooperation? A, the G8, B, the European Union, C, the G20, or D, the IMF? Question number 7, a major strategic challenge for the U.S. will be how to best integrate the rising powers of blank and blank into international institutions. A, Brazil and India, B, North Korea and Iran, C, Egypt and Tunisia, or D, Mexico and Singapore? Question number 8, what percentage of the global economy does the G20 represent? A, 25%, B, 45%, C, 70%, or D, 85%? My friends from Corvallis, they don't even have to think. They have the answer immediately. It's pretty intimidating up here. Question number 9, which East Asian multilateral organization was created in order to enhance cooperation between China and neighboring nations against security threats? A, the Beijing Cooperation Organization. B, the East Asian Security Organization. C, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Or D, the Asian Security Network. Question number 10. Corey Shake from the Waka video stated, "We have always blank the helpfulness for organizations such as the UN and NATO in managing our problems." A, misinterpreted. B, overestimated. C, disregarded. Or D, underrated. That's your last question in this round. You survived one more, ladies and gentlemen. Nice work. We're getting close to an opportunity for you to eat pizza, and some of you may dry off at that time as well. Round 4, Europe. Question number 1, the European Union, EU, implemented what major treaty in 2009, creating parliamentary and legislative changes? A, the Treaty of Versailles. B, the Treaty of Lisbon. C, the Amsterdam Treaty. Or D, the Rome Treaties. Question number 2, what is the key element stalemating military cooperation between NATO and the European Union? A, a bloc by Turkey. B, European pacifism. C, the threat of Russian retaliation. Or D, the mistrust of NATO and EU partnership. Question number 3, in 2009, the EU was ranked blank among the world's largest economic entities. A, I can actually I'm going to do this by memory, ladies and gentlemen. A, first. B, second. C, third. And D, fourth. Question number 4, which of the following European Union states is not a member of NATO? A, France. B, Germany. C, Ireland. Or D, Portugal. Question number 5, the Lisbon Treaty moved all elements of member states' trade policy under the purview of which organization? A, the IMF. B, the European Central Bank. C, the G20. Or D, the European Union. Question number 6, who is the president of the European Council? A, Tony Blair. B, Catherine Ashton Kutcher. C, Herman Van Rompuy. Or D, Benita Ferraro Waldner. Question number 7, Russia suspended the Treaty on Conventional Forces in Europe during which conflict? A, the Russian Civil War. B, the Russo-Japanese War. C, the Russian-Georgian War. Or D, the Kosovo War. Question number 8, without looking, identify the flag of the European Union. No looking. Question number 9. According to the Charter on Fundamental Rights of the European Union, no one shall be required to perform forced or compulsory blank. A, labor, B, military service, C, community service, or D, political service. Question number 10. The preamble to the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union begins with, "The peoples of Europe, in creating an ever closer union among them, are resolved to share a blank." A, mutually managed political and financial union. B, common system of national governance. C, a more perfect union, establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility. Or D, peaceful future based on common values. That's another round down. Last round before you eat. Yes. I'm currently the only thing standing between a throng of you and pizza, and I am very uncomfortable right now. We'll get through this quickly and painlessly. Ladies and gentlemen, current events. Question number 1. Recently, pirates operating off the coast of blank killed 4 American hostages after being tracked by U.S. naval forces. A, India, B, Indonesia, C, Somalia, or D, Kenya. This is the sort of restlessness I just sense. You sense pizza, don't you? You know it's somewhere near. You can feel it. Question number 2. The Department of Interior recently approved the first deepwater drilling permit in the Gulf of Mexico since the BP explosion and spill last spring. Which company received this permit? A, Noble Energy, B, Shell, C, Exxon Mobil, or D, Chevron? Question number 3. What opposition group is widely expected to take power in Egypt following the fall of Mubarak? A, Hamas, B, Egyptians for Democracy, C, the Muslim Brotherhood, D, Nation of Islam, or E, Lady Gaga? If only. Yeah, all right, boys. Relax. Question number 4. In the Chinese zodiac, 2011 is the year of blank. A, the rabbit, B, the grizz, C, the dragon, D, the monkey. Question number 5. Rebel forces in Libya have urged Western forces to intervene in the country's unrest, specifically requesting what? A, emergency food and energy assistance, B, nuclear weapons and arms support, C, negotiation support for the release of captured rebels, or D, enforcement of a no-fly zone. Question number 6. The 2014 Olympic Games to be held in this country seem to be facing security concerns unlike any games in recent memory, particularly at a ski resort in Sochi, where 3 tourists were recently killed. The country is A, Great Britain, B, Russia, C, Japan, or D, Brazil. Question number 7. Turbulence in the Middle East has caused a rise in the price of oil. What percentage of the world's oil needs does Libya provide? A, about 23%, B, about 7%, C, about 19%, or D, about 2%? Question number 8, winners of 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. The winners of 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, The King's Speech was based on this historical leader. A, King Henry VIII, B, King George VI, C, Martin Luther King, or D, Louis XIV? Question number 9, after studying nearly 100 patients affected by dwarfism in Ecuador, Dr. Guevara Aguirre has found that the mechanisms stunting their growth could potentially prevent diabetes and A, AIDS, B, malaria, C, multiple sclerosis, or D, cancer. Question number 10, Watson is the computer that defeated humans on Jeopardy. Who is Watson's creator? A, Microsoft, B, Apple, C, IBM, or D, Google? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Round 6 is the next round, but we're going to take a brief intermission. Before you go anywhere, though, you need to listen to Audrey. Aubrey's got news for you. It's important.
Congratulations, you're halfway done. How about a round of applause for Missoula's own Mayor John Engen? He's got to stand. Our representatives in Washington wanted to be here tonight, and they had some excuses about budgets and health care and Libya, and they were quite busy, but they did send along some messages that we wanted to share with you. So if you have a seat for just a few more moments, we'd like to share those with you.